I did want to check it out though. It's nothing huge, but I mean, I'm always curious to learn more about the characters in the games. This one's by Zuli the Witch. The terrible truth about Godwyn. I don't know if there'll be anything new in this video that I haven't seen from like another video that we've watched, but I'm intrigued. So I figured we would check it out. At the same time, Godwyn's corpse can also be found buried within the roots of the Erd tree, deep below Lane Dell. Yeah. At first, the two corpses seem inexplicable, erogenous even, as if left over from a change of plans during development. But it seems there may actually be a fairly simple explanation that fits within the lore and shows the intent behind them. While Godwyn's corpse lies motionless in the deep-root depths, it seems he is an idol and his influence is actually spreading. Yeah, through Deathroot, right? Godwyn is the source of Deathroot, a corruption responsible for a form of undead called those who live in death. Deathroot, a source that gives rise to those who live in death. The beast clergyman found at the bestial sanctum in the distant east collects and devours these roots. On the night of the dire plot, the stolen rune of death. On the night of the dire plot, the stolen rune of death enabled the first death of a demigod. Later, the rune of death spread across the lands between through the underground roots of the great tree sprouting in the form of Deathroot. Man, that's brutal. Could you imagine that? It really did backfire on them when they planted him there, huh? They really shouldn't have done that. And it's in the Deathroot that we might find our answers. As it appears, it may be an extension of Godwyn himself. In the roots surrounding Godwyn, we can see peculiar growths, duplicates of his lifeless eyes, and fin-lined tendrils. This phenomenon isn't confined to Deeproot, though, as we find more of these growths infesting the lands between. So he sees everything, huh? In various areas inhabited by those who live in death, Godwyn's eyes can be seen peering out from the roots. Oh yeah, right there, eh? These growths seem to drag corpses up with them, displacing the dead from proper Erd tree burial sites to live in death. Uh-oh. The strangest place these growths have reached is all the way up in crumbling Pharaoh Missoula, far above the ground. See, that is wild to me. That's how you know that's how you know that his influence is a lot more than just physical. If he's even made it all the way to Pharaoh Missoula. The fuck are you doing over there? Bing is like playing with my curtain. What are you doing over there, Bing? Oh well. I can't see the chat. The chat's not loading at all. Let me see. I don't know if you can see me, but I can't see anything you guys are saying if you're saying anything. Oh, I see it here. Oh, it's loading. It's loading bit by bit. You guys are going crazy. Anyways, let's get back to the video. We're way off track now. Oh no, you're fine, don't worry. Video is squash of the chat. Yeah. But either way. Let's return. Eyeballs. Pharaoh Missoula. Roots with eyes. This does make sense, as Farum Azula hosts a significant number of skeletal undead. These hunched over beastmen. Yeah, those guys were fun. Cannibals. But it also shows the roots don't have to physically connect back to Godwyn or they couldn't reach here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This extends beyond just spreading through the roots, though. Oh yeah, in the back of the crabs, you guys were talking about that earlier, too. Yeah, Godwyn's everywhere. These crabs rooting in the lake below the walls of Lanedale have taken on Godwyn's likeness on the back of their shells. Yeah, they've even got noses. Oh, I like that outfit. Their feeding ground sits almost directly above Godwyn's throne, so whatever they're eating seems tainted by him. Oh, I hate basilisks. A returning enemy from Dark Souls have had their features adjusted to resemble the Death Prince. Oh, yeah, a little yucky. As with the originals, their real eyes are tiny dots on the side of their head, but their bulbous false eyes echo Godwyn's. Yeah, they look ridiculous. This process of a deity, marking their influence by stamping their face. Okay. Oh, man. The Fell God seems to have done the same with his facial features, stitching them over the chest of the fire giants. Yeah, that's rude. I hated the basilisks. This would all seem to suggest, then, that the second corpse below Stormveil could just be another of Godwyn's growths. Fair enough. This could paint a dire picture, though. If Godwyn is already capable of this much, what's stopping him from growing more? I mean, yeah. You know, that is pretty sinister. And it seems as though that might also be, like, entirely Ronnie's fault if she's the one that plotted all this, you know? Do you think that that's, like, an unintentional side effect? Because she wanted to separate her soul from her body. And then Godwyn ended up getting all sorts of mucked up. Does that kind of seems like an unintentional side effect? Is there any way that Ronnie would benefit from that? Yeah. Same. Relatable. That's brutal, though. That's friggin' brutal. Well, like, think of it like a fungus, you know? Like, it's still alive, but it doesn't really have a brain like us. It's just spreading and consuming and just doing what it does. A lot of nature's like that. I mean, it doesn't have to serve a real purpose. Not even necessarily like The Last of Us. I'm more so meaning like a slime mold, I guess. He's basically like a really big slime mold. But I guess kind of, since it is infecting other creatures. An undying, ever-expanding body could pose an issue. I'd imagine she would know if she planned to die at the exact same time to kill her. But yeah. It's wild. Yeah. That would be interesting. Then it would help to have the, like, what was it called? Like something arc? Where you can, like, slash through enemies with magic. I remember in Caelid, there's, like, a group of undead that are just sort of, like, wandering around, and then I would just, like, slice through them to kill them. Glenstone Arc, yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. Very useful. That was a really useful skill in places like that. I just never really used it too much because oftentimes it just kind of ended up me being up against a couple enemies and not a whole swarm of them, you know? Did they ever make a Red Dead 2 Undead Nightmare DLC? They did fuck all with Red Dead 2. They did a bunch of stuff for Red Dead 2 Online and did absolutely nothing for the single player. So stupid. Not a single like, Red Dead 2 is probably one of the best games I've ever played in my whole life. Right? And they did not add any DLC to the base game. Sorry, but it's not the same as GTA Online. It's just not. They wanted it to be like GTA Online, but it just isn't, man. Like, I knew a few people that played Red Dead Online, but they didn't add a single damn thing to the base game. And now Red Dead Online is like dead. Really disappointing. I was really, really, really hoping that they would just even one DLC. Even one. And it came out in like, what, 2019? It's too late now. Too late. Like, I would probably play a DLC, but I think that the numbers would be not as strong as they were years ago. Could you imagine if they released a DLC at the beginning of the lockdown? They would have had so many people playing. They really messed up. I feel like they really fumbled Red Dead 2, which is really disappointing because it is legitimately one of the best games I've ever played. It was such a good time. And then Elden Ring is going to bring a bunch of people back with its DLC. I'm stoked. It's going to be good. Of course it's going to be good. I'm ready for it. I'm so excited for Shadow of the Erdtree. Oh my god. Oh! Yeah. I never played Red Dead 1 though. I would like to at some point, but I'm in no rush.